Hi guys, Troy at the Full Setup, back with another video. Now I thought we would take a little break from my RTX 2060 footage because I want to unbox one of the first coolers that Deepcool have sent me in 2019. They sent me loads of products in 2018 and this has been a cooler I've been really wanting to get my hands on. Now before we start, this is a liquid cooler and you may notice the box is a little wet. And that is because I've just spilled this entire glass of water over my Yamaha mixer there, so I'm a little bit gutted. Box got a bit wet as well. Literally just took the thing apart, put it on the radiator, so hopefully it's going to be alright, but we don't know. Might have to buy a new mixer. But yes, this is the Deepcool Captain Pro 240 RGB cooler. These are addressable RGB, so you need to check before purchasing that your motherboard has an addressable RGB header. Now the traditional motherboard headers that you are used to, they are 12 volt and they are 4 pin. These use 3 pin 5 volt RGBs and they are not backwards compatible with each other. So there's just a few specs of the cooler here, everything that it supports. So we've got AMD TR4, AM4, so we've got Threadripper and AM4, that's good because the old Captain didn't support it. LGA 2066 and 115X. A few more little bits and bobs on the box. The back is what got wet the most. So there are just some basic specs on here as well. Now what's quite funny is, you might notice this thing here. This is their automatic pressure relieving radiator. So they said it never leaks. And I spilled a glass of water all over the box. So that's quite funny, isn't it? Because the original Captain, I know the first batches had some issues with leaking. Also as well, forgot to mention, fully supports Aura Sync, RGB Fusion, MSI Mystic Light and ASRock Polychrome. Well, the inside of the box is dry. So that's one thing. So what have we got in here? We have a couple of the CF fans, which we'll have a look at in a second. Need someone to stop that box falling back down. Here is what looks to be the accessory box. And then we have the Captain 240 Pro addressable RGB cooler. So in the box you will get 2 of the CF 120 fans, which go up to 1800 RPM. I normally let them run at about 1300. After that, they do become a little bit more audio. Now, my only other gripe has been with this, because it's the Gamer Storm range, that if you buy the CF fans to go along with this, these are black on the ones that you'll buy separately, and this is a different logo, and I really wish they would change that so it matches. On here you have the 4-pin PWM, and then is your RGB connection. Now this comes with either an included controller or you can sync it up to your motherboard. I would have liked to have seen the cables braided as well. I know on the older RF fans they're braided, but on the CF ones they're not, so yeah, not too keen about that. So like, there we go, 2 of those fans, but they do look absolutely beautiful. You know, just because they send me free stuff I can't be all positive, because I am really positive about a lot of their stuff. So let's have a look what we've got in here. So this is, as you would have seen on my last Deepcool video I did, this is their 4-fan Pwm Splitter that they pretty much include with all their coolers, but this is the newer version. Got a little sticker on the back, nice bit of length on there, plus they also give an extension cable. Now these were all braided before, but they're not braided anymore, so it would have been nice to see them braided again. And then you have loads of mounting gear. So you have the big chunky TR4 plates. Then you've got for the high-end Intel desktop ones, they're just going to screw directly into the board. Then you have the back plate for AMD, for like standard AM4 and, you know, normal Intel 115 Intel installation. Actually quite like this because you put the pins in the back and then you can screw that to the board, so you're not having to hold that into place while you're doing it. There's a little bit of thermal paste, but as always we're going to use my Arctic MX4. Now they only include 8 screws, which is enough, but I would have liked to have seen 16, so you can do a push-pull configuration. Got this nice little Gamer Storm sort of sticker, which I still haven't found anywhere to stick these, so I've got loads of them. If you want one of these, let me know, because we'll get it in the post to you. So yeah, there's the accessories. Well, there's the mounting accessories. Now we need to look at the RGB accessories, because there's a few new bits in this, and something I'm really glad to see, because I did give them some feedback before to plug everything in. You had to use this extension cable, and to be fair, the extension cable was good and it always had 1 extra free space, so you could plug another extension cable into it, because a lot of you wondered how I got like 8 of these RGB fans going. But they now have a RGB hub which can hold up to 5 devices but I will try and plug an extension cable into this with the review. So what I'll do is I'll plug my extension in and see if we can run more than 5 devices off this. You've got the RGB header on the end, so yeah, it's really nice to see that. Then you have the controller, which is what I'll be using because I still don't have an addressable motherboard. So you can see the controller here. It plugs into an eSATA, really easy to use. That's what I've been using for all my digital tests. I will make sure I have a motherboard like that for the next generation. And then you have these two cables, and as you can see here, they've got different ends on them. So this is the 3-pin one. This is for Gigabyte motherboards, but Gigabyte have recently switched. I've seen on some of them. This is the Asus Pin Layout. So the Asus one's 4 pins wide, but you only use 3 pins, but you can't plug that into a 4-pin 12-volt header. And the same here. So basically, essentially, with whatever input you have on your motherboard, you plug that into it, and there you go, you're good to go. So that's all of the bits and bobs. So here is the Captain 240 Pro cooler then. It's looking very nice indeed. So you've got this standard sort of, you know, this one with the Captain, and we have seen these with RGB, but this will be addressable now. Got addressable RGB going around there. Let's have a look at the bottom. No thermal paste supplied. I think the previous ones came with thermal paste supplied, but there you go. Nice big copper heat sink there. Don't know if it's going to quite cover all of Threadripper. I would personally always buy a standard Threadripper cooler, but it's good that they are including mounting kits with a lot of their coolers. Then you have a braided cable, so we are getting some form of braided cable somewhere. So this is for the 3-pin pump header. And then you have the RGB connection. Now, as for the tubing length, I have mentioned before, the tubing length is short on these coolers. The tubing length, I should know this now, is 31 centimeters because it's the same on all of them. I know that's the same. So it's fine in like your NZXT and Fantech cases like the P range and the S range. You can sort of get it in the front and do that with it. You just have to sort of shuffle it right in the case. Sometimes you might have to have it down a bit lower. Honestly, I will always recommend the Deepcool coolers for top coolers. I actually like it's got shorter tubing, but I just wish it was a little bit longer. So let's have a quick little look at the radiator. They have pro'd this up as well. You've got this nice glossy Gamer Storm logo. I don't know if you can unscrew that. I might see. This is just a one case scenario, but I have a case where I mount radiator in the bottom, so that's a Corsair case, so I might see if that can turn out. But as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger here because you have this. This is their automatic pressure relieving radiator. So it's patented technology that they've done. Any pressure within the circulation system will be released into the air. The cooling liquid has no reason to leak from now on. So yeah, anyone worried about leaks and stuff, that's not going to happen. Obviously this is going to be slightly a bit bigger because of what they put in. So what the total measurement of this is 29 centimeters, just for anyone that's working in a tight case. And you know that's the 120 width as well, and that's a 25mm radiator. So let's get all this wired up and we will do some lighting tests. So I've got it all wired up now, but I haven't got it wired into a PC, so that's why the fans are not spinning, because obviously the fans will be running at full RPM. I've just got this jerry-rigged into a power supply. Now, as you can see, it looks very nice there. A couple of things I forgot to mention. The hub, which is just sat behind here, had 5 inputs and 1 output. So what I'm going to do is try and plug their extension cable from their CF fans into that. So then you'll be able to see if you can run so many fans off a header. I probably wouldn't go over more than 8, with that being the 9th device as well from one header. Also as well, a couple of things I forgot to mention as well, just the controller. Didn't really speak about it that much. I think it's because I've used one so many times before, but basically the top button and bottom button go up and down and cycle the effects. The middle button on this one just does the speed. You can't do the brightness on this like you can on the RF fans. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stand here and cycle through the effects, let some music roll, but do make sure you come back and check out the review. We're going to do some gaming benchmarks. You're going to see it in a case with lots of other fans as well, some RGB memory maybe as well, and we'll do some overclocking scores on the cooler as well.